Have you ever used an easy stitcher? I decided to give it a try, and this thing is anything but easy. I'm Michelle, this is my romantic tangle, and this is one of the things we found in my great-grandma's sewing box when I unboxed it a few videos ago. It is an easy stitcher. It is durable, lightweight, makes a loop lock stitch as in knitting, and is marvelous for hemming, overcasting, basting, tacking, shearing, smocking, applique, and decorative stitching. I think whoever wrote this instruction manual might have been a bit deluded. And if someone can explain to me how it is a lock stitch as in knitting, I can't wrap my head around that. I thought that what this thing is apparently supposed to do is called a chain stitch. Loop lock stitch is what they're calling it. Thank goodness this came with its original instruction book, or I would not have been able to figure it out at all. So you take it apart. There is this piece, and this piece, and the thread goes in here. Your thread goes through slot F and up through hole D, and then threads through the needle. So I figured out how to get through my slots and my holes, and when you put this all together, the lid doesn't go back on. I called in 2 of my sons, not so much for their superior male mechanical abilities as that sometimes a fresh set of eyes will help you see what you can't see. They couldn't figure it out either. But it turns out in the function of this, these 2 pieces are just holding the thread. This is the piece that actually does all the work, so I was still able to give it a try despite my missing pieces. It didn't go well. Apparently left-handed people are out of luck because the directions for this thing are completely right-handed, and maybe in the 1950s, I can't remember when it was that they stopped forcing kids to be right-handed, at least in the United States. So I am dominant enough in my left hand that I'm going to have to do it that way. I have been practicing. This is not my first attempt with this thing. This thing is stupid. I have my needle threaded. The thread goes up through hole D. It goes through the grooved side of the needle, and I don't even want to admit how long it took me to figure out that both sides of the needle have grooves. You take a stitch through the fabric. This is for basting, which makes a loop. And you pinch the loop with your fingernail. Yeah, this is going to work. You take a long stitch through the fabric, which creates a loop, which you hold with your fingernail. You pull the needle back through. Then you put the tip of the needle through the base of the loop and make another stitch. Hold the loop with your fingernail. I'm trying to do this through the camera, and it's fiddly to begin with. So basically, you are making a chain stitch. How, on what planet, is this quicker and easier than it would be just to baste with a standard sewing needle? I don't understand the appeal of this thing, other than I guess the fact that somebody made it and patented it and felt they could make money with it. I have tried and tried again and tried again. I cannot get a decent seam with this. I have no desire to get a decent seam with this because it's stupid. Now, after all the how to make a basting stitch, how to make a blind stitch, then they tell you how to fasten your thread before you begin stitching. Sure, that's helpful. You can do tailor tacking, you can do blind hems, you can do applique, you can do shearing, and I honestly thought, before I actually dug in and tried to use this thing, that I might try shearing as a challenge, but no, I am done. I'm gonna put the instruction book back with it, put it back in Great Grandma's sewing box, and some future generation could buy it with this thing. In the event that we ever needed new needles for it, apparently we can buy only New Home Vibrator sewing machine needles, and any standard 5-cent spool will fit it. I'm gonna guess that maybe this is a 5-cent spool. It was the tiniest spool I had in my vintage stash. Have you used one of these easy time-saving sewing aids from 70 years ago? Do you have an opinion? Do you have a talent I am lacking? I would love to hear about it. Leave a comment below. I'm Michelle. This is my romantic tangle, and I've got a couple other things from Great Grandma's sewing box that I am going to try, and hopefully I have better luck with those than with this, because this was a nightmare.